Don't mess with that, all right? Hey, leave it alone. What are you doing? My baby boy. All right? He doesn't realize it, but I decided to give him life back a handful of years ago. All right, didn't I? Now he's my puppy dog. Oh, Mom's over here. Oh, she thinks I'm her personal scratcher. Well, you do too, don't you? Hey? Yeah. Hey, Mums? So, what am I doing? I'm in the back 40 right now, currently, not in the new place. And it's just too hot. It's going to be 100, to call for it to be 114 degrees on Monday. It felt like it was 300 degrees today. And the wire that goes to my fan clutch, if anybody, all you who don't know what a fan clutch is, it's when your vehicle is going slow and it gets too hot. And your fan will kick in to cool the engine down. Well, the fan clutch broke on my damn pickup. So to get way up top of that mountain in this heat, if I left today, the sucker would have overheated on me 4 or 5 times. And the dump down the road where I had that pickup truck load of shit wasn't open till noon. So, and then of course it's just hotter than hell then. And then, what the hell, do it right here with these two. They're not gonna leave me alone. They just want attention nonstop, especially after I go away for a while. They just want me to touch them, hey? Just want to be scratched, hey, Mums? And it doesn't matter where. She'll act like that. I can scratch her anywhere. Watch. Hey, Mums? Anywhere. She's like, I don't care, just scratch me. And then he's like, oh, scratch my forehead and under my chin. It's nonstop. It's great, really. Hey, get out of there. But anyway, what do I got? I got to share a bunch of emails with you guys. All right, you gonna let me do that? And then there's lots going on. There's lots going on the planet, and there's always so much I want to talk about. Get out of there! They figured it out. I smuggled 2 carrots, 1 each, from the refrigerator for them. They're real cold treats, and I just got wind of them now. All right, I'll give them to them, and I'll get babbling. Here, Mums. There you go. But anyway, it was warm. The sun was shady right here too. These poor, imagine being a black horse right now. But anyway, let's get on with some sharing. I got lots I could babble about. I'm going to make a video for the Rumble channel, and it is going to be 100% about first-hand information from a doctor. And it's going to be about first-hand information directly from a doctor. Some eye-opening information that's going to make you, should make you, this should make you blow a gasket. And I do not, it's just beyond me how the amount of shit that's going on in our world today that every single one of you should be blowing a gasket for, and you're not, is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely frustrating for me. But like I said from the beginning of me coming out with these emails, this topic is one of the more easier ones to deliver to all of you that we're being manipulated and lied to. So, for all you more impatient ones who seem to get a little upset when I go off on different topics, you better get caught up to speed in being intelligent, all right? Because when I say, that's not a carrot. Now he thinks the frickin' bug juice is a carrot in my pocket. So anyway, when you are presented with facts that absolutely prove that you're being lied to, your children are being raised in a lie, misled, manipulated, and you get angry at me for changing the topic from Sasquatch to those true facts, you got to get your head, you got to get yourself checked, all right? We need people who are going to stand up to this bullshit and stop it. I haven't a clue where the people are, man, because all I'm seeing is a lot of people going online, yeah, no kidding, yeah, no kidding, yeah, no kidding, yeah, I'm pissed off. And then they go back to Instagram or TikTok or watching whatever they watch, and nothing's happening, nothing's getting done. And maybe people bitch at me saying I'm not doing anything, but I'm reaching around 7 million people a month right now, and I'm trying to subtly but smoothly, consistently drop honest information to get you thinking for yourself and get you pissed off and get you digging, right? There's no carrot in there, right? This doctor shared direct facts. All right, I'll save that for the Rumble channel. I will make a video for the Rumble channel. You can go there and listen to what I've learned and I believe to be 100% true. Because I was shared these facts from the source. I looked into it myself. I looked into it to numerous individuals who are professionals in that topic, and I looked to them for the answers. I didn't look on social media. I didn't look on YouTube. I didn't look anywhere online. All right, online is owned probably from the devil, as far as I'm concerned. But that's what I do, and that's what I've been encouraging all you to do. Think for yourself. Look into everything that affects you or your family's lives. You look into it yourself. You get the answers from the people who know, the professionals with the knowledge. You get your answers from them. And that's what I do. And I've got the answers. And I'm going to share them on the Rumble channel so that we don't lose this reach to 7 million people an average month here. All right? Anyway. Before I get going, because this is going to really make me angry and frustrated, so I better get some emails shared right now with you guys while I'm here. These guys... Oh, Mom, she's not going to stop. She's not going to stop rubbing on me. She just wants me to touch her. Okay? I've been away for a week or what I was away for, 8 days or something. Okay? All right, let me share these emails. Okay, Moms? All right? Tons and tons and tons are coming in. I'm sure she thinks I'm talking to her. This time I'll have paragraphs. This is a story about my first encounter and getting the fear. Morning, Steve. I hope you enjoyed the email about my grandmother's story. This happened when I was 11 years old. It was my nephew, my first cousin, and I. We were just being kids on the coast of Washington, playing in the woods on a well-worn trail that connected my mom's place to an old school. It was about a third of a mile long. We decided that day to go back farther into the woods than we usually go. So we started trekking around and ended up in this huge field behind the old school. We agreed on walking back to the field where it met an older patch. Once we reached the older patch, we decided to keep going back farther in the timber. A decision we would regret. Once again, we were trailblazing, just attempting to go back as far as we could, which ended up being probably 300, 400 yards back behind the older patch. We were walking, just breaking sticks and bullshitting away when we ran into a huge wall of sticker bushes and started to make the attempt to get around them and keep going. When we found a big opening, we all kind of peeked inside, and all at the same time we walked in and we were amazed. We thought that we just found our new fort. These sticker bushes opened up into a huge dome shape, and the floor was clean for being in the middle of the woods. The first thing I noticed is that there was moss stuck to every square inch of the dome made out of stickers. Oh, you can hear a jet boat in the background. That's not going to go away anytime soon. The excitement of our new fort was very short-lived, because as soon as we were excited about finding it and got to look around for a split second, we all looked at each other, and without saying one word, we all bolted for the opening and started running the way we came in. My cousin and I were 6 years older than my nephew, so he was 5 and was hanging back a bit when we bolted, so I slowed down, grabbed his hand, and ran as hard as I could all the way back home, basically dragging him behind me. We were all completely struck with fear, and noticed when we were halfway home, we were all crying because we were so scared. We did not see anything, smell anything, or hear anything. It just hit us like a ton of bricks and we bailed. The story doesn't end there. I ended up heading back to my dad's house about 40 miles away, and my nephew also went home that morning. My cousin lived with my mom, and the next day, once it turned dark, had the worst night of his life. He was laying on the couch watching TV and got the same feeling we got back in the Stickerbush Dome. My mother and stepdad were out grocery shopping, and back then it wasn't uncommon for an 11-year-old to be left at home for a few hours even after dark. But after getting the fear again, he started to look around, and then he heard a bang on the side of the window of the living room, which is about a 4-foot by 4-foot window. There's about 7 feet off the sidewalk that ran up the side of the house. He did not want to look, so it banged again, and he finally got the courage to look, and there was nothing there. Then he heard it walking up the steps onto the wraparound deck that was in front of the house, where there were 3 huge windows with no blinds. My mom's house looked over the ocean, but the middle window was probably 7 to 8 feet tall and 5 feet wide, and the windows on either side were just a bit smaller. But he heard it making its way up to the windows on the deck. My cousin could hear my mom's husky going crazy outside, then bang, bang, bang on the window in the front. My cousin looked, and he was staring directly at the Sasquatch whose house we stumbled upon the day before, and he was pissed. He continued to snort and bang on the windows, staring at my cousin, who was completely frozen with fear, being 11 years old and letting out this super ugly laugh, and was talking in a language that sounded like an old native language. My cousin was able to make it to the phone. The phone, and he called my dad. We were just sitting down to eat dinner. I heard my dad saying, "Calm down, I can't understand you." And then he put it on speakerphone, and me and my sister hear bang, bang, bang in the window. And we can hear my mom's dog going crazy. And then we heard that laugh. It was the most ugly sounding, creepy, evil effing laugh ever. And my dad started asking what is going on. My cousin replied that there was a really big, ugly man with a really long red hair and a big red beard banging on the windows and yelling at him. Meanwhile, we can hear everything in the background. My dad tells my cousin to go get in my mom's room and grab one of the rifles and stay in there. This is back when there were only landlines, so we couldn't call my mom or anyone. So my dad tells him to lock the door, and then he would call the cops. My cousin did not want to get off the phone. My cousin did not want to get off the phone. We could still hear the damn thing laughing and banging on the house. My dad ended up having to hang up on my cousin and call the cops. They ended up showing up about 10 minutes later. It continued until the cops started up the driveway and everything just stopped. It was gone. The cops seen nothing and looked around for shoe prints or handprints and found nothing. My dad reassured them that we could hear everything over the phone, so they looked all over the place. My cousin told them that when he was at the front windows, he was ducking a little to look in the windows, and I think that scared the cops from looking anymore, but they stayed until my mom and stepdad came home. Holy shit. When my mom called my dad and was talking to him about what was going on, me and my sister could hear them mentioning that it could have been a Sasquatch, so my mom called my grandmother, the same one from my first email. She came the next morning and prayed over my cousin with my 2 aunts for about an hour, and it took all 3 of their strength to get rid of whatever it left with my cousin. Okay, get out of here. She came the next morning and prayed over my cousin with my 2 aunts for about an hour, and it took all 3 of their strength to get rid of whatever it left my cousin. I personally wasn't there, but my sister was, and she told me that Grandma was puking and shaking and turning pale while trying to get this evil shit away from my cousin. Wow. I figured I'd let you know another one of my stories about these people and how bad they can get. Not all of them are bad, but they are all capable of it. I've figured out exactly what they are, how they work. My grandmother said to me that they have been here way longer than us and that they are people. I'm trying to gather more and more info for you, Steve, and in the meantime, I'll send in my stories I have to let you know some of my experiences. It's only fair while I try to find out all I can about the subject. Thanks again, Steve. Hopefully you get to read this soon. Adrian. P.S. You're definitely on the right track, so don't give up. One of these days we'll figure out why the F we have lost all these senses and gifts these things have. Until next time. Adrian, that is one hell of a share. That is absolutely one hell of a share, man. I absolutely appreciate that so much. If you could continue to share with me everything you know, and everything that you know that you're willing to share with the people through me, Many thousands of us would absolutely appreciate that, all right? Especially from your mother, from anybody you can think of. Share it all, and let's get to the bottom of this shit, all right? It's just time. It's time. It's time. It's overdue. If you look at the absolute insanity going on in what is supposedly called our leadership, especially right now, both Canadian and American, it's so embarrassing. It's so tragic. It's such a lie, all of it. It's just plain as vanilla, man. It's in our face nonstop that we're absolutely being screwed out of living this lifetime a lot better than we're allowed to right now. There's many people being withheld from being able to live to their max. That pisses me off. We got to change that. And this topic is the gateway to the knowledge that we're missing. I'm 100% certain of it. I've always said this is the easiest topic to deliver to the people that we're being lied to and manipulated. It's just all there is to it. It's the easiest one. Oh, moms. Anyway, I'm going to let these guys out. This is, they're not going to leave me alone. They never do. I'm not going to leave you alone long enough to continue sharing on here, right? I know there's a lot worse things to complain about, but I like to share everybody's stories, get it word for word, do it smoothly, and not be interrupted. Getting mauled to death here. I can scratch these guys forever, and I owe them a bunch, but okay, I'm gonna let them out somewhere else away from me, and then I'll be right back. All right. All right, I gave them some hay. Couple little piles of hay, keep them away from me. Kind of like hanging out with them. I don't want to turn them out. It's a bit of a calming effect being with your horses. All you guys got horses, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, and side note, you see that peak back there behind me over the trees? Just as a side note, beyond that peak, not too far away is where that young couple went. Absolutely vanished a couple years ago. Just for a little bit of a tidbit for all you. And right behind the timber behind me, probably about I'm going to guess about 300 yards-ish, is where that large male Sasquatch was seen by a logging truck driver crossing the road right there. And as well was seen by 5 or 6 First Nations people in the Mount Currie community, adults and children. Broad daylight, just walked right across the road, full attitude, not giving a shit about anything. Either had a salmon in both hands or one hand. And then our young friend Carly, how's it going, buddy? And he lives right over here, and him and his cousin were floating down the river right over here, about 400 yards to my left, and they come around the corner, floating down trout fish, and there was a Sasquatch squatted over the river right there. Stood up, looked at him, and walked back in the timber. If I could have, if I had $2 for every Sasquatch story in this community alone, I'd be rich. I'll tell you what. It's everywhere all around me. Oh, and then last night about 1:30 in the morning, had the window wide open, bedroom window wide open, which faces this way, and up on the hill behind me, where and there was reported there's rocks being pelted at people walking along the train tracks back here behind me as well. 3 weeks ago now, I think. And last night at 1:30, just couldn't sleep last night, and 100% heard a loud wail come off the mountain behind me. You can't see it, this one right in the backyard. It's behind these trees. And then everything went dead silent, and then probably about 15 minutes later, 2 coyotes fired up, and then all the dogs down the hole within the hearing range, they all went ape shit for about 15 minutes. I was going to get the recorder and put it on the windowsill, and put new batteries in it, hit record and leave it there, but then, I don't know, I fell asleep, I think. Obviously, I'm not overly concerned about it. It is what it is. Recording a sound isn't going to do anything. It's been done a million times. But what has been done a million times is getting every single human being to share and speak openly without ridicule and be safe. And it is making such a difference, don't you think? All right, here we go. What do we got? Titled, Why We Email You. All right, let me mark it as read so I don't get in trouble from all of you. Hello, Steve. I've been writing another email to you, but I needed to take a break from it, so I was listening again. You asked someone to explain why you get so many emails. I don't think I asked anybody to explain why I get so many emails. But let's go. Let's let it rip. Maybe I did. It is my belief that it is the content of what is read that attracts others. I do not fit in any mold that I'm aware of. I'm an individual of extremes, some of which are quite esoteric. I'm not a city boy. I'm not accomplished in the bush like you are either. I had an experience that lasted for 4 months. It was bizarre to say the least. After 20 years of not understanding experience, I came across Bigfoot channels. I watched a few of the really low-class trash that are readily available, and then I saw one of the audio recordings. That one gave me the shivers. Finally, I was hearing what we had been hearing. From there, I came across Mr. Ballin, and I heard a couple stories that resonated with me. Soon I came across your channel, and I found that a lot of your listeners seem to share a lot of the more unusual and esoteric aspects of my experience. I thought that my story was so far out there that if I told the truth that everyone would assume that I was lying. What I found out was that I have not experienced much that has not been shared on your program. The people that share on your program are brave to put so much out there. I wonder how many of them experienced as much or more than I have and held back because of concerns about judgment. It seems to me that the more people share, the more things become acceptable. This in turn causes a snowball effect. The stories that you share resonate as real, and that creates a foundation for exploration and learning. When I listen to you, I'm not a freak. That means something. I hear stories from the nuclear community, and I think, I used to work for Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. I will hear a story about a sighting on a military base and think about things that happened at the bases that I was on. For instance, one night I was taken out to a guard post in the middle of nowhere. It probably was not so far away, but I did not know where I was, so it seemed so. I was in the back of a M151A2, like a Jeep. We made a couple of stops, and the sergeant of the guard gave instructions to the last few of us who were being posted. He gave instructions specifically as to how to respond to the sighting of illegals coming onto base. Then he said that he did not want to hear about anyone seeing any Aboriginals. I was 18 and I did not have a clue what that meant, but I was afraid to ask. Someone else asked, and he said, big long-haired guys. I was Boot and other Marines liked to mess with us. I did not even figure out what was real. I assumed he was trying to scare us. Now I wonder. Anyway, you have stories from bases and stories from other Marines. I heard stories on Mr. Ballin that took place near my story and at about the same time. I live in New Hampshire now, and I hear stories from here. I keep hearing stories that I have in common. My point is that it is a lot easier to tell a story when so many others have already broken the ice, especially when it comes to the esoteric. Your channel is the place where mind speak is a fact, and that alone is enough. Sincerely, Jeffrey Snyder. Right on, Jeffrey. I am glad I found your email and shared that. I'm glad you took your time to email it to us. It's going to knee-jerk and pass on a lot of bravery. That's going to knee-jerk and share a lot of bravery, give a lot of bravery to people who need it right now, who want to come out and speak openly. And this is the place to do it. Like I said, I've said it a few times now, the cat's out of the bag. Tell you what, Highway 99 it's only about 300 yards that way. And it is busy right now. It's Friday after work. Tractors going by, logging trucks, 2 sirens, Harleys. I can't wait to move. Where I'm moving to is so peaceful, it's ridiculous. At the end of a rural gravel road. It's a big farm. And it is so peaceful, it is unbelievable. What do we got? 8 days to go or something? I've been working on trailer lights all this time in this heat. But anyway, let's get on some more shares. Jeffrey, thank you so much for sending that. Please email in more and share more with all of us. If you can, when you can. All right? It's so appreciated and much needed. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. My experiences. Hi, Steve. I'm meaning to get back to you. Since I sent the account of me taking a man and his family to Port Chatham. In my own experiences, I've had around a dozen of what I believe to be interactions with these beings. My first encounter when I was 11 years old. That one particular year, I heard them howl at night several times. We're living on a family farm in Arkansas. The next experience is when I was in my early 20s. After I got back from Vietnam, I just got my first divorce and was living with a friend and his father in Arkansas. We spent a lot of time in the woods, living in caves and just hunting and fishing. My experience there was in a cave. We were exploring a large cave system near Alpena, Arkansas, and we were about 2 to 3 hours into it, and I was in the lead. My flashlight was getting weak, and I sat and waited on my friend while he caught up. I kept hearing people talk. I could almost understand what they were saying. As my friend caught up, I asked him if he had heard that, and he said, "Who the hell could it be?" Just then they shut up. We're coming to a place where the cave opened up into a big room, 50 feet times, okay, it was just 0 feet high, so it must have been a 10. So say it's 50 feet by 10 feet high. We started smelling the most god-awful smell. It smelled like a cow. A lot was skunk piss mixed in. Then we heard some rocks clattering across the room. It sounded like several people. Thought maybe bears, but the smell wasn't right and they never growled. My light was too dim to see them. We decided to go to the right where these things had apparently came from, hoping to get a clue as to what or who they were. There was an area with potholes 4 to 5 feet deep that were connected underneath. We explored them, and there were beds. They were made of matted down grass and feces, and the skunk smell was real strong there. We decided we'd better get out of there, even though they had left, and we knew that the way they went was a long passage. Not long after that, I was in a cave, 4 in diameter. It was fresh. All right, there's a few spellings here. Not long after that, I was in a cave, and 4 inches in diameter. It was fresh. Okay, so he must have found some feces. That's all it read. If a human could have made that, he had to have been mighty sore. Besides, this cave was very well hidden on our property, and I don't even know if my dad knew it was there. Needless to say, I didn't stick around there and never went back in. The only time I've seen one of these was in Idaho. I was at Baker Creek, close to Salmon, Idaho. I'd walked up one ridge to the crest of the Beaverheads, and down to the next looking for shed, and down the next looking for shed elk antlers. In between the two is when I smelled it. It was the same smell I'd smelled in the cave some 10 years before. As I started down the ridge, I came to a perfect set of 7-point antlers that had been shed at the same time. Well, that's a good score. As I was picking them up, I heard a howl coming from where I'd just been. I thought it was my brother and a friend who were over on the next ridge. I howled back, then almost immediately I heard a scream. It was where the howl came from, about 150 yards behind me, the way I'd come. I screamed 3 times, and all I could tell, it was pissed. About that time, I looked down to where a truck was, and I saw my brother and friend standing there. I didn't run, but I got out of there as fast as I could. All I got was a glimpse of him in the shade of a small group of fir trees, and he looked like he was ranting and raving. Over the years since, I have heard sounds of several people talking, but not able to understand them. I've smelled them several times and had my name called twice, warning me of danger. One time a voice from somewhere behind me said, "Gary, stop now." I was picking mushrooms. It was foggy, and I looked up ahead, and I could tell there was a bluff just ahead. When I left and drove around to the other side of the drainage, I could see where I was, and there was a huge overhang I'd been on with about a 300-foot drop. Wow, that's interesting. That happens quite often, you know, hearing that voice of warning and saving people from danger. I've spent most of my life between Arkansas, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and Northern California, and I'm back in Ketchikan, Alaska now, and I could care less if I see any hairy people. I'm not really afraid of them. They're probably less likely to harm me than a bear, but I've had more encounters with them that I care about. I'm 74 years old and more afraid of doctors than anything in the woods. Sorry this is so long, but maybe it'll help someone. I appreciate what you're doing and agree and sometimes get angry at the carpetbaggers making money off these things, whatever they are. Wow. Gary Beck, sir, I absolutely appreciate that share you just gave us, all right? Being in a cave with these things, that is basically your script for the worst nightmare movie you could ever think of. It's basically the setting for the worst nightmare any human being would ever want to be included in. It's a typical horror flick scene, right? Going into a cave and there's a hairy frickin' monster in there, or more than one, or whatever. No thank you. But thanks again, sir, for sharing that email. I appreciate it very much. And if you come across more information that you think that people can benefit from, then please email more in, all right? All right. Alabama experience. Alabama, one of my favorite states. Hello, I'm reaching out about 2 experiences I've had. These 2 experiences have been weighing on me for the past 2 years now. Both experiences happen about 2 to 3 miles from each other. All this took place in the Talladega National Forest here in Alabama. First experience happened December 2019 on a solo backpacking trip with my dog. I hiked about 4 miles into the National Forest off of a trail that isn't used much in the winter. Set up camp, built a fire, and around 7 p.m. I heard 6 to 10 coyotes howling in the distance. I listened and carry on with putting wood on the fire. Around 20 minutes later, the coyotes were yipping all around me. That's weird, eh? My dog went straight inside the tent. Yeah, those weren't coyotes. I grabbed my 9mm as I was pretty startled that they came right up to camp like that. I yelled, "Get out of here," at the top of my lungs as the coyotes bolted through the leaves down a hollow. I thought they were gone, but a few of them seemed to sneak around behind me. I got a little freaked out and stomped my foot as hard as I could. The mountain echoed a scream extremely loud. It was definitely a louder thump than usual due to my adrenaline pumping. After I stomped, the coyotes ran off for sure this time. Maybe an hour later, I was in the tent and noticed the fire dimming out, so I hopped out with a gun in hand and threw a big log on the fire to get through the night. After I put the log on the fire, I stood there a minute and got warm. I was just about to head back in my tent when I heard the yell about 300 to 400 yards away. Not a man, not a coyote, not any animal I ever heard in my life. The typical deep guttural yell that I've heard reported on your channel. What really shook me when I heard this yell is that almost immediately after I heard an identical yell on the other mountaintop about 3/4 mile away. I woke the next morning and hiked 5 miles past where I heard the yell, and there are absolutely no people or any signs of people for the next 10 miles. Also, Sasquatch never crossed my mind until I watched his channel, putting 2 and 2 together from all the similar experiences people have reported. Fast forward to the following summer, 2020. It's getting dark. I hiked into that same stretch of forest only 2 miles in this time as dark was approaching. I set up camp and I went to sleep. As I'm laying there, I feel a hand or a paw pressing the top of my tent down onto my chest. I stayed still trying to get a glance at what it was, but all I could see was the outline of a bear snout breathing heavy over my face while I'm still pinned under its foot. Stay calm and accept that it was a black bear. I slowly reached for my 9mm as it was right beside me. I grabbed my gun slowly and pointed up at this thing. As soon as I pointed the gun, it stood up on 2 hind legs, and that's when I saw this thing. It looked like every werewolf in every movie that you've ever seen. Muscular, big snout, around 7 to 8 feet tall. It began to shake its head almost in disbelief that I was pointing a gun at it. In a split second, this thing had the gun pinned flat on my chest. As I was unable to move, this thing bent down and bit me on the neck. Everything went back as I thought I was dead. I accepted it. I said this, I shit you not. I woke up in the exact spot that this dream happened. I was so scared and so freaked out that I got out of the tent with 2 flashlights and looked for tracks, only to find nothing but anxiety and panic. I sat in my tent for the rest of the night wondering what the F just happened and how a dream could be so real and affect me a full year after. There's something going on in these woods, and I'll admit that I'm pretty scared to go back alone. It feels amazing getting this off my chest, whether you use this story or not. We need answers, and we need answers, and we all appreciate you, man. I would have never known or had any clue what might be going on if it weren't for your channel. Thanks and stay blessed. Holy shit, Justin. That's quite the story, man. And you know what's really weird is how many people have reported having these dreams, or they've said, quote, flat out, this thing entered my dreams. I mean, we've all had nightmares, we've all had dreams. I've dreamt about these things in the past, had some dreams that really seemed really real and scared the shit out of me, and then woke up and was thankful it was a dream. But I've never, you imagine what it would take something else to compel anybody to seek out information online after having a simple dream, and especially to seek out the email address of somebody on a YouTube channel and then share that dream with them and to share with all the people, right? So obviously something significant happened to you, without a doubt. And it sure as hell would be good to get to the answers and find out exactly what's going on and what happened, right? It sounds like a Dogman description to me. And I've told you before, I'm not interested in Dogman. I don't want to see one. If I do see one, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm putting a hole in its head. That's all there is to it. If I see anything 6, 7, 5 feet tall, 12 feet tall, I don't care. I don't give a shit how tall it is. I see something with a dog's head on it, built like a brick shithouse human being, staring me down in the timber with his eyes locked on me. That is go time. That is it telling me it doesn't want to be my friend, and it's locked on me, and I'm possibly prey, or it's going to harm me, or it's being intimidating to me, and I'm going to up and swing that barrel in his ass, and I'm going to put a hole in him. I'm not even going to think twice about it. I'm not telling everybody else to do that. You do whatever you do whatever your instincts tell you to do. But I'll guarantee you, my instincts are going to be to dump that thing, and be concerned about preservation of life, my life, right? What a crazy, crazy share. But anyway, man, thanks for sending that in. Appreciate it. And if you got any more, share with us. And be careful out there, all right?